Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. We're looking in Revelations chapter 2, and we're talking about the first letter, the first message to the church of Ephesus. Now remember, the church of Ephesus, going back to Acts chapter 19, was a church that the Apostle Paul had founded on his missionary journey. He had spent literally over 2 years there preaching the gospel, having a school, and the gospel spread throughout all of Asia from that church. It was a wonderful church. We believe that even the Apostle John later would pastor that church. Timothy would pastor that church. It was a wonderful church in so many ways. It's the first church that gets a letter. And so John is writing to this church, and he has given them the message that comes from Jesus. These things says he, here in verse 1, who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, who walks in the midst of the 7 golden lampstands. I know your works, your labor, your patience, that you cannot bear those who are evil. You have tested those who say they're apostles and are not, and have found them liars. You have persevered and have patience and have labored for my name's sake and have not become weary. Now, remember, he first gave them a word of commendation. How wonderful, how gracious is that of the Lord. He looks at the church to see what's right with it. And as many things are wrong with the church today, even today, man, I'm telling you, there are so many good things that are right about the church. Matter of fact, my friend Dr. Elmer Towns has written a whole book on what's right about the church today. It's the church of Jesus Christ. He loves it. He died for it. Oh, his church is a living church to make a difference and an influence in this dark, dark world around us. And so he says some good things about the church. Notice several of the things that he said. It was a serving church. I know your works. It was a serving church. Oh, what a wonderful kind of a church that is. I pastored Rainbow Forest for 25 years, and I can tell you, I love the people there because they were a serving people. They faithfully served the Lord year after year after year, and I'm so thankful for that. Then not only was it a serving church, it was a sacrificing church. He said, I know your labor, your works, your labor. The word labor there carries the idea that they toiled to the point of exhaustion, worked hard as they served the Lord. They paid a price to serve Jesus. They were a sacrificing church. Not only that, they were a steadfast church. He said, I know your patience. I know your patience. You have persevered and have patience. He says it twice. It was a church that was steadfast under trial. That word patient means endurance under trial. They kept on going even when the going got tough. Oh, I thank God for a sacrificing church. Not only was it a sacrificing church, it was a separated church. He said, you have tested those who say they or apostles and are not, and have found them liars. It tested those. They were a separated church. They checked out the ministers that would come along to see if they were genuine, which was so important. Remember, the Apostle Paul had told on his last time through Ephesus, he said, hey, listen, there's going to be some wolves in sheep's clothing come in among you, and you need to be warned they will destroy the flock. Boy, there are some false teachers out there. Matter of fact, this was a church also. They separated themselves not only from false doctrine, they separated them from false deeds. You hate the deeds of the Nicolaitans. And remember, we talked about these people who tried to divide the church with the laity and with the priesthood and the pastors and the ministers. So not only was it a separated church, it was a suffering church. It was a suffering church. And you think about how this church, it says, you have persevered and have patience and have labored. He says it again. They carried their burdens without quitting. They kept on keeping on when the going was really tough. and so they kept it going for the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, what a wonderful church. I mean, you go, wow, that's the kind of church I would like to be a part of. Well, me too. And I thank God for churches that are like that today, like Rainbow and others, and God has blessed them in so many ways. Well, he gives a word of approval, commendation, that because they were a good church. And tomorrow we'll see he has a word of accusation as he also looked at this church. Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.